What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Dark podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I needed to put a little disclaimer at the top of this episode. We had a mishap for the first time since we've been using Skype. I fucked up, and on an episode that was supposed to come out on Monday or Tuesday, it's been like a week and a half by now that a new episode has come out. We have not been idle. We have been moving. We have been recording new episodes, but we had another one get lost on us. We have another lost episode. It was recorded late last week. Can't remember exactly when. And it was Aaron and I, and we had my sister on as a guest. Talking about, once again, I promised she'd be back on when I finally got the t-shirt for the foundation that she works for. And I got it, and I had her back on, and she was also a part of the protests in Detroit. And we had a really, really great hour-long episode about everything that's going on right now. And I fucked up we lost it. We lost it. I won't get into the nitty gritty, but we lost. I lost it. And I beat myself up all fucking weekend about it. But that will be re-recorded, and we will redo it, and we will release that episode. So that's why we haven't had a new episode yet this week. And so as soon as we were done recording that episode, Aaron and I immediately started recording the episode you're about to see right now, which is all about paranormal stuff, paranormal stories, personal stories that have happened to us and stuff like that. We just got into it on the paranormal side of things. And then so that's the episode you're about to see. The reason why I wanted to put this disclaimer on is because we start the episode off talking about the fact that we just finished recording another episode, and so I didn't want people to get confused and being like, what the fuck. So yeah, I wanted to throw this on here to let everybody know we did lose an episode. That's why the beginning of this one sounds a little odd, and but that episode will be re-recorded and it will be released next week. It's scheduled, and we're ready to rock, and I think it's I'm so fucking mad that I lost the audio to that last one, but I honestly think we might even be at a point now where we can make an even better episode about it. So I am excited. Also, over the weekend, we recorded an episode that I can fucking not wait for you guys to hear. We were back in person with Clint from Recorruptor, and I literally cannot even talk about it. So, but you guys will know what I know very, 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 very soon, and I cannot fucking wait for everybody to for everything. So I'm real excited about that one. It's gonna blow your minds, I promise. It's outstanding. So yeah, so this right now is the paranormal episode, and then next week, hopefully, we'll have the Clint episode and the re-record of the episode with my sister, where we just talk about everything that's going on right now. So very excited for you to hear all that. And yeah, so that's why this disclaimer is on here, because I fucked up. I didn't know I was fucking up while it was happening. There was really no way for me to know, honestly, but it happened, and so that's why I'm here talking to y'all right now. But in any case, let's get into it. You came here for some ghost stories, and you're about to get them, because we have a whole bunch that we go into. And as a matter of fact, I even forgot, after recording this episode, I forgot there was one I forgot to even mention. So that will be talked about on a future episode as well. Very excited. Very excited. So anyway, in any case, you're about to see me do an intro and all that stuff, so I won't do any of that right now. I just hope you all enjoy the episode. I hope everyone is staying safe, and I hope everyone is keeping their horns up. I hope everyone's banging their heads, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Yes, I think we're going. There we go. Welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Dark podcast, everyone. For anyone who just watched the last episode, this is the same night. We are literally recording immediately after. We just wanted to separate the two because we ended up talking for longer than we thought we would on that topic of everything that's going on. But this one I'm excited about. Okay, so first of all, see here, I want to start off. This is going to be a paranormal episode. We're going to talk about paranormal topics. I made a post about it for any of our followers to share any of their ghost stories, but I didn't really get any responses, sadly. But the first thing there's actually three things before we dive into the paranormal that I want to talk about. First thing I want to talk about on the air, we've talked about it, is the fact that I just finished American Horror Story season 1984. It's good again. like those of you who have listened for a long time know Aaron and I are giant fans of American Horror Story, but we're giant fans of the first two seasons. And those first two seasons were good enough to carry us through watching seasons that we did not necessarily care for all these years, because those first two were just so unbelievably outstanding. Many of the more recent ones we have not particularly cared for. Aaron, have you started 1984 yet? So you have not seen any of it, so I cannot spoil anything. But what I will say is it is in my top three favorite seasons. There's season 1, there's season 2. Season 2 is definitely my hands down favorite, without question. Asylum. But Murder House and 1984 are shoulder to shoulder. Like, they're both so fucking good, dude. The newest one is so fucking good, so well executed. It starts you off in this position of 80s horror thrash kind of situation.
I knew what you were going for there.
Yeah. And then it just evolves. It evolves into so much more. And every episode, like, it literally feels, I need to watch it again. Honestly, it's so good. It's only 9 episodes. Every episode felt like it had a gigantic twist that I did not see coming. They were relentless with the twists. It went through so many different things. And Richard Ramirez was in it. We had the new American Horror Story serial killer this season was Mr. Jingles. And just, Mr. Jingles was basically their Jason, because it's at a summer camp, and dude, just, they take all of those 80s slasher tropes and just evolve on them in such an awesome way. And the way it was done, the way it was executed, the writing, the twists, everything was just absolutely outstanding. So I did want to take a minute to talk about that with you, because I know you're as big of a fan of that series as I am. So you need to start watching 1984, bro. Trust me on this one. Oh, trust me on this one. I can't wait. I can't wait until you see it, because I cannot wait to talk to you about it. Like,
so like we've been watching, because last cut, except for Apocalypse, I think the last one we usually kind of keep up with it, kind of watch it together and stuff. But like, that was the first season that we didn't, and it was like, I don't know. I don't even think I really. Well, I don't know. I must have started, but like, yeah, I don't know. The last like 2 seasons, I kind of felt like sort of, didn't really grab me as much as I would have liked, and sort of hear your kind of response to, and like ranking it with those like 2 that are the best. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like,
neither do I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're definitely like, and I guess of the, like, for me, it's Asylum, then Murder House, and then as it stands, Hotel, and then Freak Show, and then I didn't watch the other two right now.
What about where does Coven rank though?
Oh, Coven.
Because for me, Coven's up there. Coven post season 2. So in between season 2 and 1984, we had Coven, Freak Show, Hotel, and Apocalypse, I believe.
Yeah.
Coven, of those 4, Coven and Hotel were my favorites.
Yeah, I'd probably say Asylum, Murder House, and then Hotel, Coven, and then Freak Show. Just because Freak Show was weird to me because that there was so what's the clown's name? Is it Twisty?
Yeah, something like it's not Twisty. It was something like that. It starts with a T even, I think.
Yeah. Dude, that entire storyline was so good to me.
Yeah, but it ended up being nothing. Like it ended like you thought that was going to be the thing through the whole season, and it was only in a few episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that bothered me.
That's true.
Maybe it was Twisty.
Yeah. But just the whole aesthetic of it was their take on the creepy clown, and just the whole setup for it was just given it didn't quite end the way that I thought it was going to. It was a little safe to me.
Yeah.
Because I felt like they could have done so much more with that character. But yeah, just like when he takes the mask off for the first time and you see just like this jawless, that was some weird shit.
That was awesome. I'll give you that. But Freak Show for me was the first season that really kind of started getting weird for no reason, a little convoluted. Some of these storylines, why are they? Why? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's when things for me started to kind of fall off.
Yeah. And they tried to do the whole a song in every episode, which kind of hit. Yeah,
I don't like musicals, bro. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Even though anytime that they've ever put in a song or music for anything, it's always been it fits. I feel like it fits the scene.
And we got to keep in mind the people that created American Horror Story are also the people that created Glee.
Are they?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And that's why the high school the main guy in Glee is in 1984.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
God.
And I tell you what, he kills it. He plays that character perfectly. They all do. The acting in this season was, dude, and I'm saying this, hold on. Oh, sorry.
Cheers,
cheers, motherfucker. Cheers, everyone. We love you all. The acting in this season was just on another level. Every veteran of American Horror Story, I would say that's on it, and there aren't that many, but I would say of most of them, there might have been one who I liked. I just liked their character. Their character was more prominent in another season, and I thought they killed it then. But at the same time, I mean, the acting of every American Horror Story veteran in this season is some of the best I've ever seen them do. Hands down, the best on any of these seasons, at least. Every single person that's been on it before, and even the people that haven't. Mr. Jingles, dude, the roller coaster you go through with that character is gut-wrenching. Oh man, Richard Ramirez, dude. They're just so I can't give any. I gotta shut up before I give something away. But every single fucking actor just was outstanding, man. Just really great.
Thing
So yeah, what?
the thing that I love about America, just that whole series, is that they do such a good job with not only, well, in um the specific seasons, like the best ones that we're talking about, like they do such a good job with, and even even in some of the later seasons, they do such a good job with like making each scene just build. Like it starts at one point and then like all of a sudden like it'll be like two characters having a conversation and it all of a sudden it just kind of it takes this turn and it just starts getting like even more like just kind of wicked and I don't know, like I've always been a fan of that style of writing, how they kind of like put stuff together, really build the scene up to kind of to kind of have that added, and it's all like I remember that was kind of why that was why Hotels stuck with me so much, because there's so much like just cinematic stuff that they did with like the camera work and just some of the like it just starting from like upside down perspectives and then like flipping it over and then kind of having like a different a different outlook on it while the scene is still going, and then they're talking about all this other stuff, or like the first time in Freak Show where you see I don't remember what her character, Jessica Lange's character, the two-headed woman.
No, that wasn't Jessica Lange. That was
Who was
Sarah
it?
Paulson. Sarah
Yeah,
Paulson.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, just when you see that character for the first time and you see how that all works and just kind of like it just like, and that was, and honestly, like that was the first time where I'd ever seen like just the idea of like, and that whole storyline was pretty gnarly too, because didn't she get like cut in half, or didn't she want to get like separated at one point?
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that went down.
yeah, because they were like the one was trying to kill the other one.
Yeah,
Something twisted like that. I don't know. That's one I'll have to go back and watch. But yeah, regardless, like that's one of my favorite parts about that show is just the atmosphere that it builds throughout the scenes and stuff. And like it just when it's good and when they leave you on this like hanging like anticipation of it, and they and then the episode ends or like the scene switches, you're like shit, like you just it keeps you hooked. So
absolutely.
I'm really excited to start that season, knowing that it's on
Good.
par with
Yes.
what we've been waiting for good few years now.
Yes. Exactly. Oh wait, is that her? I want to get these names right. Because yeah, and I'm saying like all the positive things I'm saying about the acting, taking into consideration Sarah Paulson, Jessica, hands down without hesitation, Jessica Lange is my favorite. Has delivered my favorite performances on American Horror Story out of anybody.
Yeah.
Right next to her is Sarah Paulson, and then Evan Peters are my top 3 favorite actors of all American Horror Story. And I'm going to tell you right now, Emma Roberts and I believe this is her, Billy Lord. Both of them deliver performances that put them right in those rankings with me, with Sarah Paulson, Jessica Lange, and Evan Peters. Like, they delivered performances in this season that fucking floored me, dude. Like, unbelievable. Outstanding. So I just wanted to make sure I got Billy Lord's name right, because I wasn't sure of that actor's name. Yeah, just outstanding. So yeah, man, 1984. Watch it if you haven't yet, and you're a fan of American Horror Story.
I'm so excited. It's on Netflix, isn't it?
Hulu.
Okay, yeah, I just resubscribed to that, so I got all that.
Hulu. So next up on the list I got here is we got two pieces of good news, everybody. Seems few and far between lately. First
Yeah.
piece of good news, Cannibal Corpse is working on a new album. Cannibal
Well,
Corpse
yes.
officially announced they are currently in studio. Corpse Grinder has been laying down vocals. He's been in the studio laying down vocals. Vince Locke, shout out to Michigan man Vince Locke, my favorite cover artists pretty much of all time. He's working on the next cover currently. And it looks like all systems a go for some time in the next 6 to 9 months, maybe. We'll be looking at a new fucking Cannibal Corpse album, baby.
I feel like that's what the world needs right now.
What we need. It's what we need. Need this new Lamb of God too. How many days away from that are we? 9, 8, 7, 16 days till the new Lamb of God, baby. I'm so excited. So excited. And then the final piece of good news that we have for today is SpaceX had a successful launch. Their first manned launch using a Dragon, I believe it's called the Dragon rocket, which I've seen videos and that rocket, I don't know if you saw, after it launched them into space, it landed. It didn't just fall apart like we've seen in every other thing and go in the ocean somewhere. It landed back on the ground and now can be used again. That's one of the biggest pieces of SpaceX technology that they've been working on. And I remember the first time I ever saw a Dragon rocket take off, and it kind of did not all the way though. It just went up a little bit, kind of hovered for a minute, and then landed back on a helipad kind of looking thing. And I was like, oh shit, that's fucking huge.
Yeah, that changes the game.
Yes.
Because normally, it's like a one and done kind of thing.
Yes.
Now that we actually have and I guess I'm not super familiar with what SpaceX actually is. Like, is it part of NASA? Is it its own thing? Is it?
It is a private company.
Okay.
That is developing technology to, for space travel. They do work with NASA. But they are a separate private Elon Musk owned entity.
Okay.
And kind of like Virgin, airplanes, and they do space stuff too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but Elon has taken it to the next level and actually developed groundbreaking technology that nobody has ever been able to figure out before, like the reusable rocket. Now they have officially successfully launched human beings into space. And I think they're on the space station. And you know what? Let's just give this a goog.
It's so unfortunate, the timing of it, because I honestly feel like this deserves so much more coverage than it's getting.
I mean,
like,
I don't know. I like the Cannibal Corpse album. I kind of think it's something we kind of needed right now. Like, this is something that we can all be really excited about as a country and as a race, as a human race. This is something everyone should be very excited about, that we have. This is I would argue that this is one of the biggest leaps in space travel technology. I mean, since I don't know, man. Maybe since we landed on the moon. I don't know, because we haven't been back to the moon really. Since the last time we went to the moon, I guess. I don't know if we only went. I don't know if we only went there once. How do I not know that? Fuck. I feel like I do know that. I just can't remember.
There's definitely been different, like, we've sent people into space
more than once. Oh
Yeah.
no, space, yeah, because we, building the International Space Station and taking stuff up there and stuff, yeah.
Mhm. But
I think it's
also
the first time
with
SpaceX did it with humans successfully.
yeah,
Or at all.
yeah.
I'm trying to find.
What do you make of the UFO thing? I don't feel like we ever.
Oh yeah, they said they might have spotted an unidentified flying object from the space station, right? From this after the SpaceX launch.
Yeah, it was a cam from the. It looked like it was like the bottom part of the spacecraft, but it was like this little thing that just kind of moved across the Earth. It looked like, and they said it was, or they were, excuse me, they were claiming at least that it was could have possibly been a UFO or something. And
Well, I mean,
from the video footage, I mean, I don't know what else to make of that. Like, and but honestly, like it's hard to tell the perspective of it. Like, it's hard to tell, kind of because I don't know, like it looks like at that point they're into orbit and they're about to kind of like, kind of separate from Earth a little bit, but it also looks like they're kind of close to it. So I don't
yeah,
know, like, yeah. But either way, it was pretty crazy to see. Like, and it's hard because it was fast, and then it traveled in a straight line, and then it was just kind of like, kind of tapered off into the clouds or whatever.
right.
So
I mean, who knows what it was? You know what I mean? I don't.
yeah,
That's the thing. That's what a UFO is, unidentified. That means we don't know what it is. So it's interesting, though.
yeah,
It is interesting. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about in relation to this launch,
so cool, so
are
fucking cool.
the biggest shout out I can give from Earth, from the bottom of my heart on Earth all the way up to the sky. To these two, there were two astronauts in SpaceX's Dragon rocket. Shit, I moved the camera. Sorry. Fucking. Their names are. Hold on. Bob Benkin and Doug Hurley. On their way to the launch pad, they played some music. And that music happened to be Back in Black by AC fucking DC as they walked to the launch pad to get at Florida's Kennedy Space Center to get hyped for the fucking launch. And if that wasn't enough, now I'm quoting, if that wasn't enough to get them going, once they were en route to the International Space Station, the crew woke up to Black Sabbath's Planet Caravan jamming along in space prior to docking. They played Sabbath in space, bro.
Fuck yeah.
Sabbath in space! What? Oh, so just fucking A. Couple of fucking astronauts were waving the metal flag in the sky, baby. That brought such joy to my heart.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So again, shout out to Bob Benkin and Doug Hurley, who they were the two astronauts that were launched in SpaceX's Dragon. They were SpaceX's Crew Dragon. And they played some oh wait, hold on. This isn't the first time astronauts rocked out to some good old heavy rock and metal music while in orbit, as Benkin is quite a fan of the genre, blasting Tool's Parabola during a space mission 10 years prior. Both AC/DC and Black Sabbath iconic tunes played during the mission saw themselves as quite fitting. Yeah.
Fuck yes, dude.
And this
so
is
cool.
I'm quoting from an article off it's thebrag.com. Title of the article: SpaceX astronaut crew blasted AC/DC and Black Sabbath to kick off mission. And shout out to the author of this article, Brittany Jenke, Jenke. Jenke. Shout out to you. This was posted June 1st, 2020. Yeah. So I mean, when I saw that, I was like, that's going on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
One of the
That is
first.
amazing.
Yeah. One of the first things I was like, I thought I was like, dude, if we were to ever go into space, like, it'd be like, what would be like the send off?
Oh my God. Okay. So what do we listen to when we walking to the launch pad? And then what's the first song in space? Got to figure this out right now. We have to figure this out right now. All right. Walking to the launch pad. You got to get hyped. This is that hype song. This is the fucking, Walk With Me in Hell.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay. Flight of the Icarus is too long.
I honestly, dude, like I like if I heard the trooper
Oh,
walk it, like yeah.
that I mean, honestly, like as you step out and you just feel everything in slow motion, you go, "Woe to you, oh Earth!"
Yeah.
That would be pretty bone chilling.
Yeah.
Fuck. What is? I don't know though. I don't feel like we're both gonna look at our playlists right now. I don't feel like we found it yet. Well, except I mean, Walk With Me in Hell would be. I mean, that's pretty fitting.
What? And I don't know if you know this. I'm just trying to get a grasp for like what the purpose of why, like what are they doing?
Oh, Ace is high, bro.
Oh yeah.
Ace is high.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. Wait, what is who doing? What do you mean?
Like what is like why like are they just going into space and just are like are they doing anything or is it like
yeah, I think they there was because SpaceX has been launching stuff to the international. They've had successful launches where they like for supplies they send stuff up there, you know what I mean? And it's the first time I think in like 9 years or something like that Americans have been launched in space from America or something like that. So it's like this hasn't happened in a really long time, so that's why it's kind of a really big deal.
Yeah.
I've
like it's not funny, but it is. I like one of my favorite parts about it is just the memes that have come out of it. Because of everything that's happened, there's like people like, "Don't take me with you." Like,
oh yeah. Astronauts picked the perfect time to leave Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit's funny. Okay. So for walkout, honestly, I don't know if I can think of anything better than Aces High. Like,
that'd be pretty cool.
That's kind of just perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like Live for This. Walk With Me in Hell or Aces High, though. I feel like those are the two.
Holy Diver, though.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
Like.
Ooh. Went down too long in the midnight sea. Oh. Yeah, that'd be up there. Shit. We gotta pick one, though. We gotta pick one. I think I'd have to, honestly, I think I'd have to go with Aces High. For me. What would you pick? Keep in mind, this is just the walkout music. We still get another track.
I feel like I'd want something from Pink.
Shit, I might have just thought of an even better one.
Yeah.
For the walkout. Give Wings to My Triumph.
Yeah.
Dude. You know what? That might be the first one I play in space once we make it.
Yeah.
Aces high for the walkout. Give wings to my triumph by Hatebreed when we're in space, dude.
God, I don't know.
You're going to fucking space, bro. This is serious.
It's only gonna happen once, probably.
Huh?
Like, it's only gonna happen once.
Might happen more than once, bro. Might happen more than once. Astronauts go back to space. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe even raise your horns by a monomarth.
That'd be pretty epic.
I mean, anything by monomarth is just epic. That's what they do. Raise your horns. Yeah, that'd be a pretty good one. That one would be played in space on the space station. Because that's like a celebratory situation.
Fucking Twilight of the Thunder Gods.
Oh, deceiver of the gods, because we are flying in space. Ah. Oh, there's a lot of places we could go with this. What would you pick? Come on.
Part of me wants to say something from Pantera. Honestly.
Like what?
God.
Walk. I'm
trying to picture like walking out the front, like the fucking and the rockets right there
rolling around your feet.
Yeah.
The
obvious choice is Danger Zone. I feel like would be fitting. But
come on.
In terms of heavy stuff.
Yeah, give me some. Come on.
Like
it's gotta be, I mean,
fucking For Whom the Bell Tolls. Honestly. Just because that is
the bell ringing as you walk out in fog, dude.
Yeah. That is one of my favorite Metallica songs.
That's the walkout song. Okay. Yeah. That's the walkout song for sure. So once you've successfully made it to space. Oh yeah, dude. That's so perfect. That's so perfect.
Imagine leaving the earth and hearing Metallica in the background. Like
Yes. Okay. So first song in space, and you've made it. This is a successful mission.
So, God. I guess I probably should have thought of this before because I don't.
No, neither of us thought of this before. We're on the spot. You're in space. Then you could play Flight of the Icarus.
Well, I'm selfish, so I would probably want to hear one of Balgray's songs.
Oh,
just because that would be so real as fuck.
Respect. Which Balgray song? It's so hard.
First song in space that I hear. God. That's the question I didn't even never ask myself. Like Prophecy, maybe.
That'd be a good one. That'd be good. Oh, that that'd be a really good one.
Prophecy or monstrous. I feel
Oh,
like cool.
that's the one I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah.
I'm selfish in that regard, but I don't know.
No,
Probably
no,
like,
no, no. Respect.
it'd be sick to hear like Slayer in space. It'd be sick to hear like Rain and Blood, just
God damn it, Aaron.
above the earth, just looking. You
Rain
know.
and Blood's the walkout music, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, fuck. Too many. There's just too many. Shit. Anyway, all right.
About to catch me making a space playlist.
Yeah. Fuck yes.
Also, there is one other thing we should probably talk about.
What?
Just because it's a story that I feel like needs to be talked about because it happened just before everything popped off. We were laughing about it the other night. Was the metal ice cream truck, the death metal ice cream truck?
Hell General.
Yeah, Hell General. We salute
Hell. We salute you, Hell General. So for anyone that, do you have the article in front of you? Do you have one of the articles?
I can find it. Yeah.
Bring that article up. There's this guy that had like converted an old post office truck, mail truck, to and he painted it all black, and he'll ride around in the neighborhood playing ice cream truck music, and then when people walk up and try to get ice cream, he'll just turn on death metal and drive away.
So he's got his own website apparently.
Yeah. Hell General.
Hell General is the name I have given the production of my current project vehicle. It's a 1973 AM General FJ88 postal truck. It's an ice cream truck, basically. So like your typical ice cream truck. The name Hell General is derived from two meanings, Hell being the location of the original evil ice cream truck, and General after the manufacturer of the ice cream truck, Am General. In all actuality, my intentions with the truck have nothing to do with selling ice cream, rather than indulge brats with overpriced ice cream pops, meaning to deny those looking to buy a cold tasty treat and playing my heavy chimes through the streets. And when children materialize in the streets, I will coast right past them with a sinister look of rejection. That's on the website. That's the first thing you see. And the only thing better than that is the video of the truck just hauling ass down a side street, just blasting metal. Yeah.
There's just one. That's the only video I could find of it. Find an article like on like, I don't know, it was like Metal Injection or something like that, and then there's a woman that posted like a TikTok video about it, and she had a video of it just woo going by, blasting some death metal, and it is hysterically funny. It is hysterically funny. I love the Hell General, and dude, we need to get him on this podcast.
I
want the Hell General.
Yeah.
I want to talk to the Hell General so fucking bad. Well, I'm gonna dig into that, dude. I'm gonna dig into that.
It's so unfortunate for obvious reasons, but it's so unfortunate because I feel like had things not popped off the way they had, this would have been everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Like this would have been the meme. Like, one of the first big memes of the year, honestly.
He would have been on Joss the Show or something. Like,
yeah.
It would have, big meme for sure. Yeah. But
So
we want to wave the flag of the Hell General. Holy shit.
We're like, because I remember when we first found out about it, you were reading through the article, and you said something to the effect of like the inspiration for it came from when he was a kid, like going out to the ice cream truck but not having money, So he ran back in the house, and by the time he came back out, the dude was gone, or he
No,
like started driving away.
he ran back up to his house, started banging on the window, ended up banging on the window so hard that he broke through the window and he cut himself, so he was bleeding. So, and then he looked behind him and he's standing there bleeding with no money as the ice cream truck just slowly drives away.
Yeah.
So that was his inspiration for the situation. Oh my God, I want to talk to the Hell General. We need to find him on social media.
Yeah.
That's going to be the move. Shout out to the Hell General.
The reason that it is significant is because it happened in Minnesota, which was where.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, for obvious reasons, that's, you know, it's significant, but it's just like yeah, dude, like just hearing that story, and like I remember, like shortly before finding out about, you know, about all the other stuff, like just seeing this video or like seeing this image, and I was like, what? Like, what is that? Yeah.
Oh shit! Hang on. Like, can I click on that?
And there aren't really, to my knowledge, there aren't really any other videos of it unless you found one just now.
No. No. Come on. Why isn't this working? God damn it. Sorry. All right. Well, here. Let me try this. Let me see if I can find him on social media right now. Hell General. Hell General. Oh, found him. Facebook. Yes. There we go. Here. Shout out to Hell General. I found the video. Here. On his page. Only 7 seconds. Hold on. Here. Can you see this? Yeah, I'll turn the volume up too.
I would say, yeah.
All right. Is it in focus yet? It'll get there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it is now. Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole fucking video. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Death metal ice cream truck serves nothing but disappointment. That's a Loudwire title. Dude, it's incredible. I fucking love this so much. Hell yes. So shout out. You can find him on Facebook. He's on Facebook. Fuck yeah, dude. I love it. I'm so happy we found that. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
This is amazing. Fuck yeah. Okay. So shout out to the Hell General. Let's get into it though, man. Let's get into the topic of the evening. Only 45 minutes into the episode. Paranormal. This is the first time we've done one of these on video. So anybody that hasn't heard us talk about this before, I with some of my friends, there are a lot of places. Okay, so where should I start? My background with paranormal. It's a topic that I've been interested in since I was a child. When I would go to the public library as a kid, I would always just immediately go to the section with all the books about Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot and UFOs and ghosts and all that stuff. It's interested me. One of my top 3 favorite movies of all time is Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? And I saw it at a very young age. I mean, the first one. Is the first one or the second one? I can't remember. One of them came out the same. I think it was the first one that came out the same year I was born. But I don't know. But like this stuff, you know, I grew up with Tales from the Crypt, X-Files, just all the conspiracy stuff and paranormal stuff, everything. It's always just been a topic that I've gravitated towards. And there are even like, and I remember, you know, my mom's mom, my grandmother, told me about a paranormal experience she had once when I was very young, and I still remember it to this day. It was that she, because my grandpa, they lived in Detroit, and my grandpa worked for GM in the factories, so he worked till late at night, and there was one night where my grandma was sitting in bed. She was sitting up reading a book, and she started hearing footsteps coming down the hallway leading to her room. And she kind of, like, my grandpa's name was Jim, so she kind of like leaned over, was like, Jim, are you home? And there was no response. And then she kept hearing footsteps. She called out again, no response, more footsteps. And she said she was so scared that there was, like, within arm's reach of into the nightstand, there was a gun. I think it was in the nightstand or something like that. They had a gun. And she was too scared to even move to get it. And, like, she just sat there, like, kind of frozen in fear for a little while. I don't exactly remember for how long. And then she heard my grandpa walk in the door and get home. So it wasn't him, you know? And then, and so, yeah, that, that's just one of the stories that has kind of gone around my family. And then there was even personally with me, in terms of places that I've lived, I only have two things that I don't know if I can say they're paranormal, but I can definitely say I can't explain them. The first one happened when not long, like within a year, maybe two, I believe, of when we moved out of the Detroit area up to the Lansing area. And my room at that point in time was and it's kind of fucked up, I know, but I remember it vividly. And I was moving, like I definitely was able to move, because I was moving kind of a little bit, shuffling a little bit while it was happening. So I know it wasn't like sleep paralysis or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I was sleeping in my upstairs room at the time. And there was a short hallway. There was like stairwell leading up to a short hallway. Immediately to the right is my room. Take a couple steps forward. Immediately to the right is a bathroom, and immediately to the left is my parents' room. And then right in front of you would have been the room my sisters were sleeping in. Or I don't even know if Grace was born yet, so it might have just been Katie in there. I don't think she was. Yeah, I think it was just Katie. So I'm trying to fall asleep in my room, and the upstairs of this house at this point in time, when we lived there, was carpeted. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm laying in bed, and I swear to fucking God, man, I heard boots hitting a wooden floor in that hallway right outside of my door. Just boots hitting a wooden floor. There's no way that sound could be made on carpet. It was like old saloon sound. You know what I mean? Boots hitting a wooden floor after you came in through the little double flappy doors, in the Old West or whatever. Yeah. Straight up, that's the exact sound it was. And I was so scared, my entire body, like like I said, I could move because I remember moving a little bit, but I was too scared to like stand up or say anything or call out to my parents, even though they were right there in just a room just a few steps away. I was too scared, and then the sound stopped, and then I got up and ran into my parents' room. It was like I had to have been like 10 years old, maybe. And then nothing happened after that. And then many years later, I was living at that point in time. I had moved down into the basement of the house. There was a room, like a bedroom, in the basement. Not really like finished or anything. I had to like lay down carpet and stuff on the concrete and all that. But
Yeah.
I went down there, and then there was one, and this was in high school. There was one morning where I woke up to go to school, and well, you wake up for high school like 6:30. The sun's not even up yet. And to catch the bus and everything. And there's one morning I went down there. I went upstairs to take a shower. I went back downstairs, and I am not a morning person at all. And so back then I used to keep all the lights off. I used to shower in the dark, and I would keep all the fucking lights off in the whole house because I didn't want to see light until like basically I got to school. So I wanted to avoid it as long as I could. So I'm in my room, and okay, it's kind of hard to explain. So you walk down the stairs into the basement. Immediately to the right is my room, and it's literally like a box in the basement. There, you can, and it kind of makes an L shape. You know what I mean? You can go forward. There's a lot of room, and then you can go, and as you continue to go forward, you can turn right and around that wall of my room. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes the basement into an L shape around the room. Mm-hmm. And on the bottom part of the L, on this part of the L, that's where like the cat stuff was, the cat litter box, and that's where we would feed the cats and everything. And there was a little Michigan basement light down there that was usually left on for the cats. And then, okay, so we have the L, okay? So, hold on, let me think about this for a second. I'm going downstairs. Okay, so I'm going downstairs. We have the L like this. This area here is my room, okay? This right here is where the cats are, all right? And they got a little light on that far side. But here's the door. My doorway to my room is right here, okay? So this is just a wall over here. And then there's the cat. The light for the cats is over here. And then over here, against a wall opposite my doorway, there is like this old dresser my parents had, and it had like a big ass mirror on top of it. Okay. So as a result of that, if I don't have any other lights on in the basement, if that cat light is on, that light reflects off of that mirror and into my room. Okay. And so it provided me with just the slightest amount of light that I wanted, so I could get, dried off from the shower and get dressed and get ready for school. Mm-hmm. So I'm in my room doing that. And that light bouncing off the mirror casts a beam, like a square beam, right on a certain part of my wall. And I'm getting dressed and getting ready. And I see something move from right to left across, block that light out. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, I just looked up and I saw, woof, I saw it go by. And so I'm like, that's interesting. So I stop what I'm doing and I kind of investigate. And I figure out the only two spots to where that light can get blocked out. And in the two spots I figured it out, there was nothing in any area anywhere that, like, it was all open space. So a cat couldn't have been on something and like moved by. You know what I mean? Because what I figured out was the only thing that could have blocked that light out the way that I saw it had to have been at least as tall as me. Because as soon as I started to kneel down a little bit, you could see parts of the whole thing was blocked out. So the only way to block out the whole thing was something as tall as me. And the fact that the only areas I could figure out where it could get blocked, there was nothing there. I was like, that's strange.
Yeah.
That's strange.
That's weird.
So those are the only two real experiences I ever had personally in a place that I lived. And so, you know, and so like I was saying earlier, a lot of the places that you see on like the shows and stuff like that are places like a lot of the old asylums and prisons and stuff like that. You can actually go to their website, buy a ticket, and they'll let you in like overnight. It'll be like a tour situation, but they'll let you free roam, you know, until 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a number of those I've actually done with some of my friends. And it's but here's the thing is that it's a quest to see something undeniable. Because right now I'm someone in, you know, from X-Files, I want to believe. But I haven't personally seen the undeniable proof for my own eyes. And so I'm searching for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I come from on this. You could say I'm a bit of a skeptic because I look at things very scientifically, or I try to, and I don't, and I with a lot of scrutiny. I really try to debunk something before I just dive all in on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that, like, I always start from that angle.
You get that.
So having said all that, and there's a bit more we'll go into, but having said all that, I'm very excited because I'm under the impression you have some stories for me.
Yeah. Some stuff that you may or may not know about. But I guess to kind of back up, like, I don't, and it's weird because I've said before, because we've had this similar conversation about just different things that have happened. I don't really have one specific thing that I can point to as like a definitive point where I was like interested in you know, like paranormal stuff, or like figuring out, like, you know, or just like ghosts and stuff like that. But I don't know, like I always remember just kind of from, you know, like about the time where I could really kind of like grasp the concept of like why these things happen, and sort of like what happens with it, and like what leads all this to happening and stuff. Like it just it's always been something that's been really interesting to me, as far as like, you know, like there's things that can happen that are like specific to just like you, and there's only like certain points in time where you know, where you can like recall things happening. So like I don't really have anything specific to like point out towards, as far as like personal preferences or like just personal things that have happened. At least that I can recall. Like I'm sure, and that's one of the things that like kind of gets me, is like for as long as I've kind of been interested in this sort of thing, I feel like there would have had to have been something that would have happened to kind of lead me down just being interested in this, other than just like being into just like weird stuff, I guess, at a certain point in time. Like,
well, I mean, if you're into horror movies, if you're into metal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess,
Not a far reach.
Yeah, maybe it's that kind of thing. But I was asking my, you know, because it was honestly a conversation that I had never really had with just family members, or just with people that were around me and stuff, and my mom didn't really have anything, but my dad kind of, because like he's really into, you know, like history of things. He's really into like, you know, we've had talks about like UFOs and about like, you know, ghosts and that sort of thing. So like, you know, we've had some, you know, he's definitely given me a lot of just things to kind of think about, and just, you know, just different kind of scenarios and stuff that are just pretty crazy. The one is, which I think you'll probably be interested in, is we were talking about the Capitol specifically, and he was like, yeah. And he was like, you know, there's like 4 people that have died there, right? And I was like, it seems like I have. It seems like I've heard about it, or like we talked about it, but I don't really remember and stuff. And he was like, yeah. He was like, there was there was a guy that was doing like painting stuff up top and fell from like 4 stories. And people say that like they can still kind of see him like every so often. Like you see just like this figure that's happening like kind of up top in like the main part of the Capitol. Um, there's we talked about um there was one about a kid that was like God, I wish I could remember the setup for it. Because I'm probably wrong about it, but there was for one reason or another there was a younger kid that was up in like the rafters kind of this of the and for those that don't know like the I'm talking about the Lansing Capitol, the Capitol building. And there's it's pretty multi-layered. It's pretty like if you go through a door, like there's certain like stairways and like different stairwells and stuff that you can kind of get to and stuff to go up through the top and to kind of see like out through the city and stuff. We actually had the chance to do it once because he used to do maintenance for the for that building, just for the Capitol, and just kind of so there was one day where I was at LCC for schooling and stuff, and I had like a couple hours to burn or whatever, and so I came by and we went like all the way up through the stairwell, all the way up through all of like the different stuff, and eventually got up to the point where we were like right at the dome of the Capitol, kind of like looking out across everything. Yeah, it was really cool. But like there's a lot of like really like sketchy kind of like corridors and like smaller areas that are just kind of like if you step off wrong or like if you lose your balance, like it can be pretty bad. So like I didn't like, and it seems like I remember him telling me about the story of the guy that was in the doing some kind of like I don't want to say it was like painting stuff, but like he was just like up on a scaffold or whatever and just like fell just like 4 stories, and kind of like what I was talking before, and people can still kind of like there've been accounts of people like seeing somebody there. So I guess that's from a Michigan standpoint, but he also said that, and I hope I'm getting this right. One of his brothers or brothers or sisters, I think, that lives up north somewhere. I can't really recall where it was, but he said it was a lake house somewhere, and he said that, like it was. There was in this house there was like they have like the little turrets and stuff that kind of look out across the lake up north there. Like there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
He was saying that one of his brothers bought this house and or bought or lived in at one point, and again I apologize for not having like a whole ton of details and stuff. Like we briefly kind of talked about it, but he was saying that he said that because the widow tower or something, like there was like you look out across the lake because it was a spot where wives would kind of look for like their husbands kind of coming back from sailing and stuff. And he said that there was one time where they came up and they thought that they saw somebody sitting in the window, but there wasn't anybody there when they went up and checked for it, which is pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah. Which I don't know how I would really respond to that. Like just kind of like going up and just like seeing something through the window and just like having nothing there is pretty crazy. So yeah, no, I wish. Honestly, like it was definitely up north somewhere, and it was a house that was kind of like built like kind of out on the lake and stuff, and he would always kind of like go out to sea or kind of go out to the water and stuff, and she'd always kind of be there waiting, and I guess like they went up there and they saw somebody sitting in the window that just there was no connection to it. There was nothing really, so that's that's pretty crazy. Yeah. But they also we got talking about the blood cemetery.
I am familiar with Blood
You know about
Cemetery.
that? Yeah.
I've
He
driven
said
by
that.
there more
Like,
than once.
yeah. Because he, my dad's side, he was one of 13 kids. and
Shit.
and there was like that was kind of the thing was, they're like, oh, we're gonna go and like, like drink out by like Blood Cemetery, we're gonna go hang out by it and stuff. And which I honestly don't really know too much about it, but kind of from reading into it, it seems pretty wild. Let me look it up just for
Yeah,
reference, just
it's
to kind
got a
of talk.
little. It's got a little story where it's something like the gates open and close on their own or something like that. There's like little like local folklore kind of thing around it. But now I don't even think you can like go into it after dark or anything. Like,
Oh, really?
so I think I'm pretty sure, not
Yeah.
100%.
It's out in Langsburg, which is in Michigan.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the wealthy Blood family built the cemetery on their own land in the 1800s, and the last surviving family member was old Dr. Blood. Uh, he lived in the creepy old mansion next to the cemetery, thus been given the moniker of Blood House. The story goes, the old doc shot his wife with a shotgun and hacked her body into bits with an axe. Afterwards, to avoid punishment, he went into the cemetery and hung himself from a tree. Supposedly, to this day, ghosts of both Dr. and Mrs. Blood haunt the cemetery. Says years after a group of teens decided to explore the cemetery and mansion, one kid dared to enter the spooky old house and proceeded to enter through the window. After an hour with no word from the boy, one other kid freaked out and went to the police. A policeman told that Dr. Blood's ghost living there Dr. Blood's ghost lived there rather, and isn't fond of trespassers. In minutes, the police drove to the mansion with the kids following in another car. When they arrived, the whole house had been set on fire. Hours later, once the fire was out, firemen discovered the burnt remains of the boy with his hands and feet tied with a rope next to a shotgun and an axe smeared with blood. The next morning, police discovered a freshly dug grave with dismembered corpse inside. The corpse missed blood, but the body of Dr. Blood himself had vanished and was never found. So
Yes,
that happened, and that's like Langsburg is.
that's the story. Well, hold on though. That's the story, but I have dug deeper into that, much like the other kind of local folklore around Seven Gables, where the story there is similar, that there's a family living at this house on Seven Gables Road, and like a witch or something came up and was asking for help, and the man of the house turned her away, and she cursed them, and so the man of the house ended up murdering his whole family, by hanging them all from the gables of the house, and then he like shot himself, and then the local folklore became, if you take this certain road to this certain road and then go down Seven Gables Road, and outside of the fence, if you hear a baby crying and you run in to help it, the last person over the fence will die, or something like that. Now, much like Blood Cemetery, there is no actual hard evidence to substantiate either of these stories. Sadly, I've looked into it, and I have not been able. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some does exist out there that I have not seen. But as far as my research, I have not found any actual proof of either of these stories, whether it be the people at Seven Gables house or the kids going into Blood House and it burning down and one of them dying and all that. I think it's mostly folklore, as far as I can tell, in terms of actual records. In terms of what I've found.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting.
There is that.
There was,
there was a Dr. a Mr. and Mrs. Dr. Blood, and it's like that first part of it is, I think, true. It's the part with the kids that I don't think there's any evidence to. So so there was rumors of this cemetery being haunted even before that story. So the cemetery has been rumored to be haunted for for forever.
Hmm.
So so yeah, it is, and it does have a story of like the gates opening and closing on their own or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm gonna take a quick break.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'll talk for a
I'll be
minute.
right back.
All right.
But I do have one more story that I want to tell you about.
Oh, cliffhanger, motherfucker. God damn, he's got to leave us like that. Um, what's going on, everybody? I guess we're taking a quick break here. Yeah, this stuff, when it comes to this stuff, I love it. I'm fascinated by it. But I'm also like, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And firsthand eyewitness accounts are one thing, and don't take anything. You know what I mean? Because I've had some experiences, and that I personally have tried and not been able to debunk myself. So I can't explain them; they're unexplainable. Um, and I think a lot of other people have had things like that happen to them as well. What is it? I don't know. Like that's the thing. Like I don't know what any of this is or even means. But it seems to be a part of science that it's never really been taken seriously. But then again, every kind of revolutionary idea wasn't taken seriously until much later. But these are things, there are accounts going back all through human history of everything. So I feel like there's just this massive unexplained gap, and one day science may be able to explain it, but it can't yet. But
What's
there's
that?
definitely something going on. I'm just talking about what I kind of think about the situation, and like how I think if you have an extraordinary claim, it requires extraordinary evidence, and but at the same time, these things have gone back all the way through human history. So it's like, whoa, something going on here. Something going on here.
Yeah.
But you know what though? I'm not gonna lie, I gotta take a quick piss too. So I'm gonna run away real quick. Talk about Bogray for a second.
All right. So, I guess to give a little bit of an update with what's been happening with us, we are in the process of, because with everything, our, given the recent protests, given the recent state of things, it's been a little bit more tough because our practice space is actually in Lansing, not too far from the Capitol. So we haven't really been able to get together, but we've definitely been in talks with doing things. We want more than anything right now to get back into to start streaming again, and to start giving you guys just something to listen to and something to watch, because we want it to be better than it was before. Because we started to kind of recognize that there were things that we could definitely do a little bit better. So we're starting to really kind of go back and put things together. We're investing a little bit more in our equipment and ourselves, and our, I've been speaking personally, I can't really speak for everybody else, but I've been practicing a lot. I've been, kind of keeping things fresh, and so I would like to say that by the time that, within, if not, because it's June 3rd as I'm saying this, so I would like to say that because the restriction is June 12th, and I would like to say that within the next couple of weeks that we will probably have a new stream. We'll probably have something new for you guys. We'll probably be back on stream. But at the same time, like, it's all tentative, so I hate it as much as everybody else. I'm sick of it. I miss everybody. We're talking if not every day, every chance we get, anytime something comes up. Um, so just bear with us, man. Like it's been tough for everybody. Like I said, being that they're so close to downtown, like it was really hard to you know it's just been hard to kind of get everybody together and just back into things, and obviously with COVID still happening, like you want to make sure that what you're doing is right timing for everything, and so we want to make sure that when we do get back together, like it's something that we can just hit it and it can just go. So we're really working hard to improve on some really some housekeeping stuff that we've been kind of haven't really necessarily taken the effort to fix and to kind of get better with and stuff. And so I'd like to say that when we do finally get back, like it's fucking go time, dude. Like I feel like as a whole, as a just as a band, as a collective, as a group, that kind of thrives on constant creativity and constant posting and constant, like it's been tough for us because just it's the attention's kind of been everywhere. So just if you're listening to this and you're wondering what the fuck is up with Bog Wraith, we haven't heard shit, we haven't heard, just bear with us. We are in the same boat as everybody else. We want nothing more than to be back and to be able to stream, but it's under certain conditions, and it's under we want to make sure to do it right so that we can pound the pavement and actually make it work for us in a way that's productive and that's positive instead of kind of going backwards. So that's just kind of a little update, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
We look forward to it, that's for sure. But what's this final story you got, Mr.
So, and I wish that I could recall it because he told me about it a while ago. My dad did, and I guess he was doing a job at a senator's place. I'm not sure who it was. I can't really recall the name of it, but he was saying that before they bought the house, there was like there were people that were basically saying like they would hear like dogs barking, or they would hear like a little girl playing jacks on the front porch, kind of weird stuff. And I think when he went to, because I guess to back up, like my dad's really into woodworking stuff. Like he's always done it. He's been a carpenter for most of his life. He's done a lot of stuff for the state, a lot of freelance kind of stuff, a lot of just built, a lot of really just amazing stuff. He's done a lot of renovations for houses around Lansing and around just kind of everywhere. And it's actually to the point where like sometimes we'd be driving around, he'd be like, "See that house? Like I put the windows in, or I put the floor in, or I put we built that from outside in and stuff." And it's just kind of really cool. So he was telling me about the story that one of the senators in Michigan like bought this house, and there was rumors of it being haunted, and there was rumors of it, people hearing different things. Like I said, like there was little just like kids playing outside, or like like a girl on the front porch like playing jacks and stuff. And I guess when he was there, he heard some kind of like dog barking and stuff, and I guess he like asked the owner if there was any dogs or anything, or if like they own anything, and I guess they told him that there wasn't, like they didn't have a dog or they didn't have anything and stuff. And he was like, that scared the shit out of me. He's like, that was so creepy.
Dogman.
Yeah.
Dogman.
But there was also other accounts of like people like being interested in the house, because I guess at one point he was gonna sell it and stuff, and they were asking about like, did you hear, like, have there been accounts of like, I like little kids somewhere like just hearing. He was like, yeah, he was like, I told you, he's like, I knew it, like kind of a thing. So
holy shit.
Yeah.
So there's some accounts in this house that the senator lived locally, apparently.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but I I know we've had conversations about it. I know we've talked about it. Like I've personally, I can't really recall. I'm sure to a point something has happened because otherwise I wouldn't be so interested in this kind of thing. But I've always been fascinated with the idea of like um like lost souls kind of. You know what I mean? Like souls that are just kind of unrest in places where things have happened, you know, and actually being able to go back to these places and doing these research, you know, and going through these places and actually having the evidence to back up. Like that's, I feel like that's kind of why, you know, just watching certain ghost shows and stuff or just certain things. Like I feel like I'm at a point where I believe that it's possible, and I believe in it enough to where I want to maybe understand it a little more from a personal sense, because I feel like until it actually happens, I don't really feel like I'll be able to grasp it.
Right.
Um, and I know we've talked about it a bunch of times, and like, you know, the closest thing I have is, you know, I mean, we've talked about it before, but like apparently, there was an old woman that died on the front porch.
At your house?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I it sounds ridiculous, but I've been kind of noticing because later at night, because I have a cat, right? And some, because like my room is right next to it, like right next to the bathroom and stuff, and like the whole house, like the back part of it's kind of an extension, and like it was kind of built on at a later point, but the whole, like the front of the house is the original part of it, and you can kind of tell from just looking at it, like, you know, from how it's all kind of put together. um and like I don't know what to make of this, but like certain times at night, like my cat will, like, you know, bust at the door, and then I'll open it and she'll just kind of sit there like she's looking at something, and I'll try to like kind of like push her out the door, and she'll just like, she like won't move, and she'll like, you know, like there's like something in front of it, like there's like something she's looking at, so like I'll shut the door and then she'll do it again, and then I'll open it and there's nothing there, and she'll, you know, it'll just kind of repeat a couple of times until she eventually, like, she goes out of it. So I don't know what the fuck that is,
Hmm.
but that's just something I comment, and it's usually like a couple times a night even.
Well, that is odd.
So I don't, yeah, and like I'll, you know, like I'll try to be like, you know, like I'll walk out of the door, like I'll walk, you know, I'll kind of like try to like, you know, push her out or whatever, and sometimes she'll just kind of like, you know, it'll be like she's like hesitating, like she sees something or whatever, and like I never knew if that was true, like if cats can see things, or like if, you know, like if certain animals, like certain pets can, like, you know,
Film it
I've
for me.
always, what's that?
Film it for me.
Yeah,
Next time it happens, take a video and take a video of the area where the cat's like looking, and send that shit to me.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's just weird, like she just kind of like freezes and kind of like looks out, but doesn't really move out of the doorway, which is really weird.
That is strange.
And I don't like, and it could honestly be just nothing. And I
Could be.
could,
Could be.
yeah,
Could be. But it's odd behavior.
yeah,
So give it a
and but
look.
like, and it doesn't happen any other time either, which is kind of what I also noticed, is like any other time it's like during the day, like it's, you know, just kind of goes out or whatever, but for some reason, like kind of later at night, she just kind of like, I'll open it like she wants to go out, and she just kind of looks out there, and, you know, like, and it's and like there's a bigger window that's out front, and so I don't know if it's like something that, like, a reflection or like, so I don't know. So that's as close as I got. I know it's kind of lame, but
Well, I mean, for me, like on the oh, let's see here. I guess one of now, and this is like, I would really like to go to like a what's it called? Memory regression therapist. where they like kind of like hypnotize you and like
Hmm.
go back to the memories. You know what I mean? Because the human brain is amazing in that we all have virtually like photographic memory, but we don't all have the ability to recall it. But our brains record everything that's happened to us. So I do have this memory of when I was very young, very young. I mean, I'm talking 4, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But we used to have this cat, and so that's why I want to go to one of the to know if what I remember seeing was real or not. Because like there was a point in time where I hadn't thought about it in years, and then I just like remember it came back to me one day.
Yeah.
And I remember just being this little kid, and we had this cabin, and there was like we rarely used like the front door of the cabin. We would always drive around back and go in through the back door. You know what I'm saying? And we were and in the backyard there was like a backyard, and then right down the middle, the cabin was on a road, kind of like a cul-de-sac shaped like a C. You know what I mean? The cabin was right here. So in the backyard, there was a path that led to this side of the road too. So you could pull in, drive around back, and then there's a path that goes to the road over here, and you can leave that way, or you can go back around the front. You know what I mean? And typically we're always in the back. And I remember being a little kid and walking out, and the path is big enough for a car. You know what I mean? It's a big path that leads to that other side of that road. And you open the doorway, you take like 2 steps, and you know there's a little bit of backyard, and then there's the path. And the path there's 2 sets of like little bit of woods on either side of it. So kind of the whole backyard kind of makes like a T shape leading up to the cabin. And I remember like walking out, looking down the path. I didn't see anybody because they were all out front, and I didn't know that. And I saw a deer take 1 hop, land in the middle of the path, and then take another hop away. And then I saw a black wolf take 1 hop into the path. Right after it, it stopped, looked at me, and like stood up and curled its front paws like up, or hands or whatever, just a little bit. It kind of like did like this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It was still like really hunched over and everything. It didn't stand all the way erect, but it stood up off a little bit and kind of like a T-Rex. Kind of looked like a T-Rex. And while it looked at me, and then it looked back towards the deer and hopped away. And I remember screaming. And then I remember my grandfather running around the cabin, and I remember him picking me up and taking me to the front of the cabin with everybody else. I remember specifically that part. I know for a fact happened because I remember that vividly. But yeah, like that was arguably, and theoretically what that would have been is Michigan's Dogman, my favorite cryptid. But I don't know. I was so young. It's so hard to be like, yeah, that's 100% because I was so young. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I know how shit memory recall on humans are. So it's hard for me to say, but that's what I remember. And so that would have been kind of like my earliest probably encounter with it, then until the footsteps and then the shadow that I talked about earlier, until, you know, the way it's kind of funny, actually, the way I met the first time I ever met my roommate, I walked into where he was living at the time, and they were watching a show about Bigfoot. And I was like, you guys, you're into this? And then he was the first person that went with me on one of these these haunted, overnight tour situations And the first one we did together was the USS Edson, the Gray Ghost, which is docked in Bay City, Michigan. It is a decommissioned Vietnam warship. And you can go tour it. It's like a museum, and you can, pay to get locked on it overnight. You can get off whenever you want, you know what I mean? But like, you can pay to be on it overnight. Yeah. And we did that. Didn't have very many crazy experiences, but there was a couple things, a couple moments, a couple times got a little creepy. And then what the next one we did was the haunted mill, the old mill in Dundee, Michigan. That one got crazy. That one we actually saw lights turning on and off on their own. We would break glow sticks and then throw them, and we saw one start like rolling. Like it was me, my roommate, and one other person, and I'm sitting there, and we got some shitty equipment, but some equipment. But one of the pieces of equipment I had was a little thermometer, and a digital thermometer. And I'm sitting there, we're just sitting there in the complete silence, just listening. And I'm like, God, I feel like it got cold in here. And we had just taken the temperature like a few minutes ago. Like, it feels like it got cold in here. And Josh is my roommate was kind of like, yeah. And so I take the temperature again. It was like 10 degrees colder than it was like just a few minutes ago. I'm like, what the fuck? So we stand up and we look into like this dark room in the basement where we had thrown the glow sticks. And one of them was real slowly just going back and forth, covering kind of a significant area. Mm-hmm. Back and forth. And then when we investigated, there was no dip in the floor. There was nothing. There's no explanation for that one. We saw lights in one certain room turn on and off on their own. And then, but the craziest thing for me personally, and I know Josh remembers more stuff that I don't. But the craziest thing for me personally was like there's usually a local paranormal group that'll be involved in being the ones. They'll be there. They'll be like there all night. They'll bring you. They usually like get like a few pizzas at some point in the night, and they bring equipment that people can use, and stuff. They'll go with you to certain areas if you want, or if you want you can just go off on your own, Sure. So they're there, you know what I mean? And we were walking around with one of them, and they had a piece of equipment called the Ovulus, which basically just like takes frequencies from the air and like it puts out a certain frequency. And supposedly the theory is that spirits or ghosts or whatever are supposed to be able to manipulate that frequency and produce a word on the screen. So it's kind of like, it looks like a big ass smartphone, and you walk around and ask questions, and then a word will appear on the screen, maybe. So we're walking around with that thing and not getting anything from it. People are asking questions, nothing. It's not saying nothing. And so I kind of go off. We're upstairs in the upstairs of the museum portion of the Dundee Mill, because it's a museum. So there's literally like displays everywhere and stuff, roped off areas you can't go, and we're up there. I go off on my own. Nobody can see me, but I can see everybody. Like, I'm not that far away, but nobody sees where I am or what I'm doing. I'm like maybe 15 feet away from everybody, and there's like some displays and stuff in between us. And they're all over there talking to the Ovulus. I don't remember if I don't think they were getting anything. But then I look over, and behind the rope, I see, like, right up to the rope, there's this piano. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm a giant Ghostbusters fan. One of my favorite scenes is when Peter Venkman first walks into Dana Barrett's apartment, and he opens the cover of the piano, goes on the two highest keys. I just love that. I've always loved that scene. So I went to do that. I literally played those two keys like that, and nothing happened. The piano made no sound. And then I hear the Ovulus make a noise. And I didn't hear what it said, but I heard them go, "What? What does that mean?" And I went, what? And I yelled across. I was like, what did it say? And they said, it said broken. And dude, I still right now get goosebumps when I think about that. Like, because I was trying to play a broken piano.
Yeah.
And that thing out of nowhere across the room, none of those people could see what I was doing. It just randomly brought up broken. And I went, I just tried to play this piano and it's broken. And they were like, what? Like, it was fucking, dude. That's one of the craziest like ones I've ever, like, I just the shiver, the chills that I got when that happened. It was fucking crazy. And there was I mean, there were a couple other things that happened that night, I know, but I can't remember them all right now. But then I guess the next one we did really was when we took a vacation down to Key West for a week, 5 years ago now. And
really? It's been 5 years since then?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so. And down in Key West they have a haunted tour thing. And so we did that, and it took us, because they have something pretty significant in the paranormal world down there, which is everybody knows Annabelle, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody knows that Annabelle is actually in real life a Raggedy Ann doll. It's not what it looks like in the movies, for the record.
Yeah.
The Annabelle doll does exist. It's just it is a Raggedy Ann doll.
Right.
There is another in the paranormal community equally as famous doll called Robert the Doll, and he is in Key West at a museum. And we went on a haunted tour of the Key of Key West, and we visited Robert the Doll, and we learned a lot of fascinating stuff. Like when the first recorded settlers that traveled to that key, when they arrived, what they found, the whole place was like literally covered in human bones, and nobody knows who those bones belong to. It's just like, it's a mystery. So like I can't remember. It went by. Key West has another name that I cannot fucking recall right now, but it translates to Isle of Bones or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, pretty fucking metal. Yeah, Google that real quick. Key West, Isle of Bones. So yeah, we went and visited Robert the Doll, and that was a pretty interesting experience. Nothing really happened, really, but it was weird. Like, it gave you some weird feelings looking at that thing. That's for sure. So we did that, and then there was a lot of fun though too. So shout out if you're ever down there. It's like a black bus that's parked downtown. So go hop on that bus and take that tour. Then we also went to, one great place is Fort Wayne in Detroit. That place I've had a lot of experiences actually.
So real quick to kind of back you up to what the last story. So Spanish settlers originally called Key West Cayo Hueso, which translates to Bone Island. Bones of the Calusa Indians who had once lived in the Florida Keys. English speakers mistook Cayo Hueso, thinking it sounded like Key West, and the name stuck. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Huh.
Fuck yeah. It's awesome.
I never knew that.
History.
Yeah.
You're learning something on Lost in the Dark tonight.
There you go.
So Fort Wayne, my first time there, I did have quite an experience where I was sitting in if you go on the tour on the fort, one of the places you visit is the jail. And the jail is actually very well lit, well kept. It doesn't look creepy or dingy or dark or anything like that at all.
Yeah.
Um, and then off to the side, there's like a room. There's like an unfinished room, kind of almost looks like a basement, honestly, with the fucking water heater, furnace, whatever, fucking shit in there. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
a normal like room like that, boiler room, whatever. Like just like a standard Michigan kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm in there. I'm sitting there. There's a chair, sitting there, and in front of me there is a chalkboard on the floor. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I can get the ghost to write something on the chalkboard. You know what I mean? But then immediately to the left of the chalkboard is there's a desk, and it's like a long desk, and it just has one long drawer, and it is slightly open, just about that much. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And sitting on that desk is an empty can of Diet Coke. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the chalkboard. I'm not alone. There's one person standing directly behind me in the room with me. And sitting there, nothing's happening. There's no breeze. There's nothing. Nobody's making big movements, nothing. And I swear to God, I watched that can of Diet Coke get slightly lifted up and then placed into the drawer. It wasn't knocked over. It wasn't pushed. I saw it slightly elevate and then get placed. And I don't even really remember hearing the metal hit the wood, which you would hear if it had just been blown over by a breeze. But there were no windows, so I don't know how that would have happened. There was no fans blowing. It just lifted up and got placed. And as soon as it happened, I turned to the person behind me. I said, "Did you see that?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "What was that?" I said, "I don't know." Like we
Yeah.
had no explanation for that one at all. And then when I went back to Fort Wayne years later, a popular piece of ghost hunting equipment is an EMF detector. It detects electromagnetic fields. And with most scientific equipment, you take a baseline. So you walk around everywhere, you get a baseline. So you know like where the natural spikes are, if there are any, so you don't, mistake anything. And so if you're standing somewhere and you haven't gotten any readings for the entire time you've been there, if it's a long time, and then all of a sudden you start getting readings, that might be something. Especially if those readings are reacting to things that you're saying. So we are back at Fort Wayne. I'm back at Fort Wayne years later. Different group of people. And walking around. And one part of the tour, they take you to like where, because it's a fort, so there's like these like made of brick cylinder areas that you go into, and there's little holes, and that's where some of the guns went out. You know what I mean? And it's just like this brick column that you stand inside of. And we're inside of one of them with quite a few people. And someone had an EMF detector and nothing was happening. And then and the tour guide, this was a straight up tour. This wasn't like an overnight lock-in situation. And the tour guide was very like wanting to get everybody involved, and typically I'm not that person. And so they were like, someone needs to hold the EMF detector. And I just kind of like looked away, and they're like, "You." And so I was like, "Fuck, all right, I'll hold it." And they're like, "Ask it questions." I'm like, "All right." So now I have to talk. And I start kind of like, other people kind of start asking a couple questions and stuff. And they're, are you here? Were you a soldier? Standard baseline, nothing, getting no responses. And I am like, the thought goes through my head of no one is asking anything negative. So I went, oh, that's weird. For the first time, I just got weird feedback in my headphones. I've never heard that before. Interesting.
Hmm.
The I'm standing there and I go, uh, do, wait, what did I say? It was like, do you, do you, I think I said, do you want us to leave? I can't remember if that was my first question or not, but I said something like, do you want us to leave? Or do you want us to be here? And the thing started going ape shit for the first time. No, it hadn't moved all night. And it starts going ape shit. Do you want us to leave? Do you like that we are here? Make this thing move. If the answer is no, it starts going ape shit. Like every time, and it was spot on specific. Every single time I asked a question about whether, like, if it wanted us here, it would always answer no. And that's the only time it would answer. And so we left. Like, the tour guide was like, okay, well, we're gonna head out then.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that
pretty crazy.
that was wild to me. That was wild to me. And then I guess honestly, like the last two kind of things that we've done, we went to, there's a place in Indiana, I think. Yeah, Indiana, called the Randolph Asylum. Shout out to anybody that wants to look this stuff up. Go to ghosthuntsusa.com. That's a great resource for finding places where you can get a ticket and stay overnight. If anybody's interested in doing this, we found the Randolph Asylum on ghosthunts.com. At that point in time, they didn't have any in the state of Michigan. That was the closest one that they had. They do this year though. So we went down to Randolph, and this was an interesting one for me personally, eye-opening, because we go down there and it is a terrifying old asylum, paint's chipping off the wall, like it's stereotypically horrifying. We were there during a fucking thunderstorm, so there's lightning and thunder going on outside. Like it is every beginning of every horror movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the entire time we were there, and I went with one other person, and we talked about this immediately, pretty much when we got in the car to leave. Was we were commenting on how strange it was, how we felt nothing ever. We never felt nervous, on edge, scared, concerned. Nothing. In fact, we felt comfortable the entire time, even when we were isolated in this massive arcing, like big catapulting fucking ceiling wooden attic that this place has, with lightning and thunder going outside, and all the lights pitch black to the point where I can't see my hand in front of my face. And I'm sitting there in that pitch blackness with a thunderstorm going in an abandoned fucking asylum. And I'm sitting there like, chill. I don't feel anything. And we didn't really get very much evidence that night. And my takeaway from that was ultimately a positive one, in that showed me I can be in a situation that is, by every stretch of the imagination, should be terrifying, but I'm not going to let my mind play tricks on me. Like, I'm going to sit here, and if I feel something or see something, then I do. But if I don't, then I don't. And that's that. I'm not going to think I saw, you know what I mean? I'm not going to, and I can be, and even in the most horror movie of environments, even then, I'm not going to sit there and be, oh, I saw something, if I didn't. You know what I mean? I'm not, nothing's playing tricks on me. You know what I mean? The environment is not going to play tricks on me. I can be in a crazy ass environment and sit there perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? So that was a positive takeaway for me. It kind of reassured me in going like, I can be in that situation and be okay and not, you know what I mean? And that was the like most intense looking stereotypical haunted situation I've ever fucking been in personally. Like it was intense if you just would look at it. Like you know what I mean? But I didn't really have very many experiences there at all, to be honest. Like it was a lot of fun, but and I loved doing it, but my takeaway from that one was, well, damn, that's kind of crazy. I can be there and not anything happen, not feel anything, not be worried, nervous, or scared, or scare myself. You know, let my mind scare myself. You know what I mean?
That's and that's something I know we've talked about before because and honestly, like either the next one you guys go on or one of the next ones, like I'm at a point where I feel like I want to be a part of it. But it's that thing, like it's that exact thing that, you know, I feel like I need to kind of work up to, because admittedly, like I haven't, you know, like there's definitely something to be said about throwing yourself in those situations and being able to recognize when certain things are happening based on, you know, just like prior experience rather than just going into it expecting something to happen and freaking out when the first thing happens.
I know. I go into all of these. I go in really not expecting anything. You know what I mean? I walk in with as little expectation as I can, and it's because like 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna find anything.
Yeah.
It's the 1 out of 10 time that you keep going for, and you know, I just hope that one day I do have that one experience that just is so mind blowing and so unexplainable that it's just like that's it for me. Like I've seen it for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, and there's also something to be said about that too, you know, like like wanting to kind of push the limits until you recognize that what you believe to be real actually is, you know. And maybe that's something that I'm kind of recognizing in you know, having so many opportunities and kind of like passing up on them is like, well, eventually, you know, because I've always, for as long as I can remember, you know, kind of being into this sort of thing and being into this, you know, this idea of, you know, something else being out there and, or like, you know, what all this is kind of about and stuff. And I feel like I've kind of reached the point where like, you know, I've read up enough about it and I've known enough, you know, people that have had certain circumstances and stuff. And I kind of feel like, you know, it would kind of like ease how I look at it if I were to just go and just kind of experience it for myself, because I feel like it's one thing to kind of talk about things that have happened, but it's another to actually like see it. And I feel like, you know, again, that's kind of where I'm at with it, is like you know, I mean, it's you would have to be kind of blind and kind of senseless to feel like there wasn't anything else, like there wasn't something else out there.
Here's what I'll say about that is what I know is that nobody knows.
Yeah.
I know what the scientific evidence points to, but I am also aware of many scientific studies that have been conducted that are legitimate, peer-reviewed, and have talked about unexplainable things happening. So, you know what I mean? Like it's not it's not the mainstream, but if you look for them, you will find them. And so things have been done, and it put it this way. There are things that happen that are currently unexplainable. And what that means, what those things are, does that mean they're ghosts? Does that mean there's an afterlife? Does that mean there are spirits? Does that mean the mind is separate from the body? There's a lot of implications there. And
Sure.
extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So we are still, in the process of getting to the point where we have that evidence, and to really, and to be able, testable, provable evidence. You know what I mean? But I feel like the more people that talk about it, the more people that get into it, the more people that look at it, and the more people that do it, the closer we get. Because technology and everything has developed so much, and even now, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot more tools in the utility belt to use to find out what's going on with all these unexplainable events that keep happening.
Yeah. You ever? There's this show that's on right now. That's it's called Skinwalker Ranch. You ever heard of it?
Familiar.
You ever watch it?
Very familiar with Skinwalker Ranch. I don't think I've seen. I know I haven't watched it yet, but I've been meaning to.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of it's similar in the way it's shot to what's that other one that's on there?
Ancient Aliens?
No.
That's a question.
Fuck.
Is it on History Channel?
Yeah. No, it's on Discovery.
Oh, okay. But no, yeah, that's definitely.
Well,
I want to see that because I'm very familiar with, and I'm under the impression that the new show is talking to the new owner, who I am not familiar with.
Yeah, he. Let me read it here. Because honestly, like my parents have been kind of watching it kind of on and off, but I had just recently started kind of paying attention to it. It's more like UFO stuff, but
yeah.
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch is also known as Sherman Ranch. It's a property located approximately 512 acres southeast of Ballard, Utah, a state that is reputed to be the site of paranormal and UFO related activities. The name is taken Skinwalker Navajo concerning vengeful shaman. Basically, yeah, it's this super rich guy bought this place, and now they're kind of going into some of the stuff that's been happening, and a lot of it's like, there's a guy that was on it, like they were kind of digging underground and stuff, and they came across this maybe they weren't underground, maybe they just found this like well kind of, and the dude was like kind of opened it or whatever, and all of a sudden there was like radiation that was so strong that it like changed like the top part of his head, like he sustained an injury from it. It was pretty wild. There was another thing where they saw a straight up like UFO or like a light in the sky in broad daylight, and it just kind of took off, which is pretty wild.
Oh.
Yeah. God, what is the name of that other show? I know we talked about it.
There is a really good recent documentary though on Netflix called The Hunt for the Skinwalker, about the Skinwalker Ranch. And the guy that made that documentary also made the recent Bob Lazar documentary, and both time and he was on Joe Rogan about the Skinwalker Ranch, and then he was on Joe Rogan with Bob Lazar about the Bob Lazar documentary.
Yeah.
And that guy's pretty cool. I forget his name. Bad with names.
So God, I'm so pissed I can't think of the name of this other show. Because it's so good and it's been on forever.
Wait, Bigfoot? What's it about?
These two guys from Michigan bought this plot of land because they're trying to find this money pit that's been like locked under for centuries, and the legend is that 7 people have to die before they find the treasure. Or before they figure out what's up with the money pit. Let me see.
Huh. I've never heard of this.
Oh, the Curse of Oak Island. That's what it is.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
heard of that. I didn't know they were from Michigan.
Yeah,
What the fuck? Yeah, no, I've seen an episode of that. Yeah.
it is, dude. Like they are. It's been on for 7 seasons, and they are like every.
Still haven't found it.
Yeah, yeah. It says Oak Island is a tree-covered island on the south shore of Nova Scotia that has intrigued treasure hunters for more than 200 years. It's believed that the island is hiding one of the greatest treasures of all time, but no one has ever been able to find it. Rick and Marty Lagana, brothers from Michigan, who have bought the rights to much of the island to try to solve the mystery. The two use modern technology and good old American know-how to look for treasure, but it won't be easy. The search has been expensive and dangerous. Several people have died trying to strike it rich on Oak Island, inspiring the titular curse. Lagana hopes to avoid the curse long enough to find the treasure before they run out of money. So yeah, like the whole thing, like apparently, like there's been 6 people that have died searching for this so far. Apparently, one more has to before they kind of find it and stuff. But each season, they come across all these different artifacts when they're kind of digging stuff up, and it's not. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like paranormal, but it is like, you know, in terms of like just, you know, historical finds, and in terms of like just, you know, like I guess like folklore, really. Maybe that's not even the right word for it, but just, you know, just like they found, you know, they do a bunch of excavating and they find different portions of the island that, you know, when they dig it up is like, oh well, this is like, you know, like soil from what was part of this, you know, money pit that's, you know, that was also a part of a trap that kind of would like trap people down there if they were trying to find it and stuff. And just like it's super interesting, but they haven't, like, and it started back in 2014 and they still haven't really, like, they still haven't found the actual treasure for it. But I feel like with everything that they've kind of put together with it, like they're super close to, you know, like history, and it's
crazy.
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's not necessarily paranormal stuff, but it's, you know, it's definitely something that's, I mean, kind of along the lines of like the Skinwalker Ranch stuff, because it's kind of filmed in the same way, and it's kind of like the same idea of like, you know, like just like a group of people that are just generally interested in figuring out like what happened, where they were at and stuff. And so
absolutely, hell yeah, that's sick. I've seen a little bit of Curse of Oak Island, but I'm definitely you reminded me of the Skinwalker Ranch one. I gotta check that out for sure.
Let me see if I can find the actual
shit. Oh yeah, no, you just reminded me, like, similar in that vein. There is one season of American Horror Story we totally forgot about. Roanoke.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason we did not care for it.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Literally forgot about it.
Yeah.
I knew we were forgetting one, and I didn't even, I don't know, I felt like we were at least.
Roanoke. That's I'm trying to remember what that is.
That's the
It was an Indian burial ground, wasn't it?
No, it was a settlement of people that just disappeared.
Yeah,
nobody knows what happened to them.
Yeah. First Parliament English settlement in North America. The first colony was established. The governor in 1585. Roanoke Island is what now Dairy Country, North Carolina.
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
I was gonna look up this
Skinwalker show.
No, the Oak Island curse.
Oh.
Because it is. The Oak Island mystery refers to the story of buried treasure and unexplained objects found near Oak Island in Nova Scotia. Since the 19th century, a number of attempts have been made to locate treasure and artifacts. Theories about artifacts present the island range from pirate treasure to Shakespearean manuscripts to possibly the Holy Grail. or the Ark of the Covenant. With the Grail and the Ark have been buried there by the Knights Templar. Various items have been surfaced over the years that were found on the island, some of which have been carbon dated and found to be hundreds of years old. Although these items cannot be considered treasure in their own right, no significant main treasure site has ever been found. The site consists of digs by numerous people and groups of people. The original shaft is an unknown location today. It was dug by early explorers known as the Money Pit. The curse is said to have originated more than a century ago and states that several men will die in the search for the treasure before it is found. To date, 6 men have died in their efforts to find the treasure.
Wow.
So that's, yeah, and through that show, like they've really gone into finding, like, you know, they like digging through like the soil and kind of like picking through all this stuff. They've found like keys and like, you know, different parts of wood and different things that, like, you know, have been leading them, like each season. I feel like they get a little bit closer to it, and it seems like it's really kind of only a matter of time before they actually kind of find either the biggest treasure in modern history or jack fucking squat. Like
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be
I don't know, like I'm fascinated by that kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
How can something so old and so, like, you know, like just so sacred just be still a mystery, and like we're still looking for it.
There are many mysteries.
Yeah.
Still, that's what makes the world beautiful.
Yeah. And kind of
so much is still unexplainable.
Yeah. Kind of in that same respect with, you know, with like ghost stories and stuff, like it's that, you know, that urge to figure it out, you know, that's that mystery element of things that just, you know, I want to believe. And I know you took it off there. I'm referencing it now.
It's always a mystery.
Yeah.
God.
Oh.
Dio. Here's
Yeah,
the Dio. Here's the Dio.
Hey, I'm out of drink right now. But hey, empty glass. There you go.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like there are a couple. There are a couple other things that of stories that I know that are true because of but they didn't happen to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What was that story you were telling me about? I don't know if it was Seven Gables or if it was somewhere else, but you said that, like, and it was like somebody, like, a member of your family, like, went there, like, videotaped a bunch of it and like had footage of it.
Oh, no, yeah, dude, no, that's holy shit, I forgot about that. No, yeah, my uncle.
Yeah, since, real quick, ever since he told me about that story, like, it's been stuck in my head. Like, it fucks with me. Like, it's so wild. Yeah.
No, yeah, my uncle. I can't recall which place it was. But my uncle, like my dad and all his brothers, they grew up in Taylor, Michigan, right outside of a suburb of Detroit. And my uncle, with a group of friends, one in which had a video camera, back in the 90s, keep in mind, they went to, like, I mean, it was like an abandoned hospital, I want to say. And they were there. They were like, I can't remember if they had already, no, I don't think they had gone. They were just like walking around outside of it. And then this guy on a bicycle comes up and is like, starts talking to him, you know, and he's like, hey, do you guys want to go in here? And they were like, he's like, I used to work here. I can give you a tour. Like, I can show you around. And they're like, yeah, like, that'd be awesome. And he's like, I know how to get in too. And there's like a little crack in the fence or something like that. And so they go in, they go around, they're going in, you know, he's showing them the fucking rooms, you know, the normal patient rooms, and then the patient rooms that were all fucking padded, for, the fucking, crazy's crazy. And then like he took him down to the fucking morgue and showed them like the body fucking drawers and all that shit. And like, they were walking around for a while, and then they come back outside, and they go back out from under the fence, and they finish talking to the guy, and he leaves, and they all disperse. The guy with the camera was one of my uncle's good buddies. Didn't live very far away. So my uncle gets home, and I believe he said he made a sandwich and sat down to started eating a sandwich. And he gets a phone call from his buddy. He's like, "Dude, you need to come the fuck over here right now." He's like, "No, I just got home. I'm sitting here eating. What are you doing?" No, get the fuck over here right now. So, all right. So he gets up, goes over there, and he's like, "Watch this." And he puts in the tape that he just took with all of them at the hospital. And the whole time they watch the entire tape, and never once do you see the guy with the bicycle. You literally see people asking in empty space questions, and then everybody listening and reacting to a response, but the guy never appears in the video. He was gone. I don't know how you explain that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I remember when you first told me that story, I was like, and this is a few years ago too, even. So like it's still stuck with me. Like for some reason, it's just like it doesn't make sense. Like how would you'd have to be like how would you make sense of that? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've asked my uncle to talk to his friend to let me see the video before, but I still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it exists anymore, but I'll ask him again next time I see him. But honestly, the only other, I remember I did have a couple. I saw a ghost cat. Preston's old house used to have a ghost cat in it that multiple people saw, and then I saw it once. Preston's old house that he grew up in Davison used to be haunted. It was literally a football throw away from a haunted house and a graveyard. Yeah, there was a ghost cat in there. There was something in the basement. We saw something shake like a dresser in the basement one night. That was pretty fucking intense. And he's got a lot more stories out of that house, but I don't want to tell his stories. You know what I mean? Next time he's on, I'll talk to him about it. But the only other really thing that I can think of off the top right now was one time me and like a fuck ton of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. There were 6 of us, and we went to this graveyard, and we all get out of the car, and then we start walking through the graveyard at night. We're not trying there to fuck with anything. We never, just for the record, I want to say I've been in many graveyards at night. I've never, ever, ever, ever even considered trying to flip over a gravestone or deface anything ever. It's not what I'm about. Fuck that. So we're there and we're just walking around. We're walking in the main path quietly, calmly. Everything's fine. And then it's like a long rectangle and it butts up against the fucking cornfield. And we start hearing ruffling in the cornfield. And then I think I see a figure like stand up next to a tree a little bit in the distance. And we start hearing more and more ruffling in the cornfield. And then we're like, all right, maybe we should go back. So we start walking back and we hear something following us in the cornfield. And that freaks us out. So we all start running. And then we get back to the car and one of the car doors was open. And they were 100% all closed when we left. I know for a fact. I looked at it myself. So while we had been walking, something opened our car door. And we don't know what. But yeah, besides, I mean, that's honestly off the top kind of the last thing I can think of. Yeah. I know I've got more. As soon as I think of more, I'll write them down to make sure to remember for the next paranormal episode. But I did want to get some of these stories out in an episode on video finally. Since we're finally on video, I want, because we've talked about all this stuff before on just the audio version. But yeah, I want to talk about it in the video too. That'd be fun. But yeah, honestly, that's all I kind of got. You got anything else, buddy?
I don't think so. Honestly, like that's kind of it.
Yeah.
I know that. What's that?
I was just gonna say we wanted to do a paranormal episode, and I feel like we've done that.
Yeah, yeah. That was. I mean, it was like because today was kind of one of the first times that I ever really asked any of my family members, at least my parents, like if they'd ever experienced anything like that. My mom didn't really say that she had too many, just because for one reason or another she just doesn't really believe in it, which is fair enough. Like some people just don't. But my dad, like for some reason, just like he's got like a wealth of like he's like an encyclopedia for like just weird like stuff that like you would only really need like in specific spots, but like always relates back to something.
Oh yeah.
So
maybe we need to get him on the podcast sometime.
Yeah, and he like I don't know. He's like we're always watching like UFO stuff, and like he's always like super into like History Channel and stuff, and like we're always talking about just different things that have happened. So I feel like that's kind of where I get it from sometimes, and like it was weird because for a while I always remember them watching like like ghost shows. Like there's just one about it's the medium, and then like she goes into the house and kind of finds stuff, and the other guy talks to the family or like the person that's
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
I can't remember either, but I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
So I always remember them watching that and stuff, and just kind of, and I guess from that, just like I always thought that they had like a few more stories or a few more just kind of things that kind of led to that. But sometimes it's just like a general interest in just unexplainable stuff. So, and that's just as well,
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to kind of pick their brains about that kind of stuff because it doesn't come up ever.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
So,
well, shit, man. I guess we'll wrap this one up. Fuck, this was fun though. This was a lot of fun. I love talking about this stuff. Now that I've gotten out like kind of like as many as I can remember offhand, I'll get Preston on soon. We'll talk about some of the ones he's had, and because he's had quite a few, and then maybe I'll move to work on finding some new stories, some recent updates and things like that have been happening, because there have been some updates and some interesting things that have gone on recently that I'd like to talk about. So yeah, this will be we'll get more. We'll be back again on this topic, that's for sure. But for now, that's going to be it for us tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Lost in the Dark podcast. As always, remember, support now more than ever all your local favorite bands. Bog Wraith, Recorruptor, A Suffocating Lie, and A Fitting Revenge. Shout out to all of them. A Suffocating Lie just released a new one. And they all got stuff in the works. So check them all out. Shout out to all of them, and be sure to support your local music scene and the bands that you love at all. Everything starts, you know what I mean? Everything has a beginning point. So be that start, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's it for us for tonight. Yeah. Shit. Thank you so much for watching. Fucking A, everybody. This has been crazy. So now more than ever, raise your fucking horns. Bang your goddamn heads off. We love you all to death. Horns up. Good night.